All right, Dabls, it's truly a pleasure to be here today. I know you're a storyteller. What story do you have to tell today?
Today I will tell a story that relates to us as African people that covers almost 200,000 years told through the beauty of stories. With stories, you're not restricted to the rules of history, which is a made-up concept in itself.
For example?
We know the history of America has been pretty much fake because it didn't include our history. And if you didn't include our history in it, how can it be of any validity? Because we were very important to this country. We were here when the Europeans came here, called so-called Americans. We've been in America for about 75,000 years. We came here about 15,000 years ago, and again about 5,000 years ago, and that's long before the present-day Europeans have occupied this land. So if you can tell a story of your history and exclude us out of it, it's fake, made up.
Earlier we talked about what is the relevance of black folks knowing their history. How can this help me today and say in 2017?
Your history is your mother speaking to you. Most of our history comes through the voice of our mother. She's the first one to influence us, and that's like saying, how can my mother have an influence on what I do? We have been taught to think history is an abstract concept that only appeals to the people who have conquered and created things. But it's very difficult for any people to really find comfort in themselves, to move forward with themselves without a personal knowledge of their own history coming through mother tongue. Mother tongue, by the way, is a technical definition out of the field of paleoanthropology, which says that we all have a mother tongue. And what comes with that mother tongue is a general ideal of how we got here. But now we are focusing on three concepts of how we got here, which has nothing to do with the African people. That's the three major religions. Okay.
And those three religions would be?
Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Okay, now Ron Karenga said that we are all Africans and we learn the various religions. What role is there really a division when it comes to religion?
The concept of Africa really is just to tag us to a geographical location, because no people at no point in time in Africa referred to themselves as African. They referred to themselves as that particular culture group or that geographical location. It became a term just to identify all people of color as being from a certain geographical location. Now, animus is a term that we have not heard of, but ask yourself, what were we doing before those conquerors came in and made us acknowledge their system of belief, their creation myth? We were under the system which was called animus, which is a system that says that there's a personal relationship between me and animals, there's a personal relationship between me and plant life, because we came here with a very personal relationship with the land. And the system that we had, if you saw someone in a praying position, they were not praying to some imaginary concept, they were praying to their ancestors, because the African system was in harmony with nature. Nature only goes 4 seasons. So that's how we saw the world. These ideas about future, long-term planning, those are European concepts, and they at best that's what they is, concepts. They are nothing in this universe to say they have any validity other than the fact that we were taught them and we believed them. But the African system was tied into nature, biology, chemistry, medicine, etc., which came from the various herbs that were on the planet.
Brother Dabls, I've been knowing you for many years, and it's always been a pleasure speaking with you. But once again, we had a conversation earlier, and I talked about the ills in our community. How does this history help us to deal with some of the ills that we're dealing with today?
Well, your history is important because it becomes the reference points for you to make decisions on your behavior. We can't get past America, and especially after colonization, enslavement, and the things that took place over the last 60 or 70 years. That's what we are focused on. And from that, there's nothing inspirational or inspiring out of that. So your history is the most important thing that you have. Now, if you pay attention to the people who are in control of us, they have connection with their history. In this country, it's mainly military people who have done great things. But the African people, we had great people throughout the whole behavior of mankind. We were doing great things. So without that, if you do not have your own history, then you're responding to a history that was taught to you. K-12 is a European history that we learn.